The Mavs win. Let's go. And I'm joined by the BK Brawler himself, Bobby Karalla, Mavs.com. Let's talk some Mavs.
Luka Doncic, and this is Locked On Mavericks podcast.
The Dallas Mavericks are NBA champions. Bang! Bang! It's good! And the Mavericks have won the game!
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
Welcome to Locked On Mavs. This is one of your co-hosts, Isaac Harris, and I'm joined today by Bobby Karalla, Mavs.com. Okay, host of Mavs Studio. Is that your like official title for Mavs Studio?
Studio 41, Isaac. Studio 41. But hey, that means we have 40 other studios. I'm only the host of one of them. Luckily, I'm the host of like the coolest one.
There you go. Okay. Honestly, this is one of the coolest things that I sit there on Twitch. Now, listen, I haven't did Twitch a lot in my life. Here and there, Dimes, I was like tuning in to watch Dimes do some things back when in his Dallas days. But you've got me back on Twitch. And I was sitting there for like an hour the other day and like went back and forth with people ranking the jerseys in Mavs history. And it was incredible. So every day, can you tell the Mavs fans how often you go live on Twitch and like what Studio 41 actually is on the Dallas Mavericks Twitch channel?
Yeah, so I'm going to assume that everyone who's listening to this podcast, or at least like 95+%, is aware of what Twitch is, because they're very online people. If you're not, Twitch is a live streaming platform. For most of its history, been used for playing video games, just hanging out with people. They can watch you play video games live. The streamer sees the chat, so there's a lot of interaction. But as people have spent more time online and away from traditional media, like watching TV or listening to the radio, obviously listening to podcasts has kind of supplanted that industry in many ways. People are turning more to live content and they want to connect with people. TV is a very sort of like kind of passive experience, right? Something is happening on TV and you're watching it. You can't engage with it at all. On Twitch, you can interact all the time. Like you getting in debates with people about the trash bag jerseys and whether like these City Edition jerseys are better than, the greens from last year or whatever. So I'm streaming on Twitch every single day, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time to usually about 12:30 or 1 p.m. We have a studio space in our office that is called Studio 41, presented by Chime. I'm doing this, Isaac, as the people on YouTube can see from my living room. It's because our office is closed through the holidays. So where I'm streaming normally looks a little cooler than this. There are no Dennis Smith Jr. or DeLon Wright jerseys in Studio 41. Maybe I can take them across the street with me to the office and hang them up in there, though, to give those two great point guards some love. But until then, yeah, it's fun. Weekdays, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. You've been on there once, too, and love to have you come on again.
Well, it's a lot of fun. I like what you're doing with it. And that Dennis Smith jersey, Rick's coming to town at the end of January if you want to package that up for him.
That would be a good idea.
I'm sure he'll be excited to see you again. I know he'll be excited to see me. He'll probably ask me how Nerlens is doing in New York.
Yeah, have I told you yet we're doing like an honor guard? You need to be a part of it. As he walks into the arena, we're all just going to line up and pay our respects. So looking forward to that.
I can't wait. Okay, let's talk about this Mavs game. Mavs win 95-86. Luka's back, and I just want to open it up right off the top. I mean, it's been how many days has it been since we watched Luka play basketball? Because it feels like Thanksgiving. It wasn't Thanksgiving, but it was probably like second week of December. It's been a good 3, maybe 4 weeks.
It's been 22, 23 days, man. December 10th, that game at Indiana. But even that game and the couple games before that when he came back, they weren't really like Luka games. He was so clearly still bothered by that thing.
Yeah, so just opening up off the bat with Luka, what were your thoughts on Luka tonight? How did he look? How did he look in with this roster now that, there's some of the hardship guys still there? I really don't know what to call them. I'm just calling them the hardship guys. But what were your thoughts on Luka game 1 back?
I thought he looked pretty good. There were some gnarly turnovers in the first half. Felt like kind of the whole team, with Luka and Maxey starting and then playing with Jalen. Like Luka and Jalen have started 2 other games together this year. They haven't played together very often. That starting lineup had never played together. So I wasn't really surprised that the first 5 or so minutes were kind of weird. But after that, they all sort of like found their footing a little bit. And, from a physical standpoint, I thought Luka looked okay. Tough to tell. I don't have my didn't have my magnifying glass on him to see, what his belly looked like or anything, but he seemed to be moving okay. There were a couple times though where he was still sort of wincing, and, moving a little gingerly, and so I'm starting to think. I mean, you might just see that for the rest of the year. Some ankle sprains or knee sprains or whatever are just so serious that they're always going to bother you. So that might just be the new normal for the rest of the season. But I thought he looked okay. He was able to put the ball on the floor, get to the rim a lot in the fourth quarter. Um, didn't always bear itself out in the form of points because the Thunder were preventing him from scoring at the rim in favor of allowing three-pointer shooters to be open on the perimeter. And Luka made the right play. But yeah, I mean, I thought he looked good. I thought Maxey looked pretty good. Hit some
Yeah.
shots. That three at the end was great. And Tim Hardaway Jr. kind of rescued them in the first half. They were off to pretty horrible offensive start, especially in like the mid-second quarter. And then he was able to heat up a little bit and kind of, save the day. So all three guys very, very sorely missed. Luka, of course, chief among them. But yeah, it was good to see him back out there.
Yeah, Luka finished this game 14 points, 10 assists, 9 rebounds. It's crazy. He almost had a triple double in this game in his first game back, but 6 of 14 from the field. He had that play at the top of the key, and Dwight moved his leg, a little bit there as Luka was going around it as he's setting the pick, and Luka I thought he tweaked his ankle again. He fell down. I was like, no, please don't tweak the ankle. But he got up. He did fine. And then the pass to Maxey at the end
It was awesome.
oh my gosh. Like I like set up. I was like, let's go. Like as soon as he passed it, they closed in. Like you said, they were doing this all game, just daring, the Mavs shooters to take these threes. And Luka gets to the basket. There's like 3, maybe 4 dudes around him when he does this behind the back midair perfect bounce pass to Maxey. And of course, Maxey drains it.
He saw Josh Green making all these jump passes while he was out. And he's like, you know what? I'm not going to let Josh be the best passer on the team. Like I got to retake the throne here.
Shout out to Tim Hardaway Jr. post game tonight when Callie, I think it was Callie, maybe even Coop, asked him, "Hey Tim, what was it like watching the Mavs when you were out?" And he was like really bragging on him, and he bragged on the Portland game. He's like, "Man, that Portland game was a lot of fun." He said, "Josh Green out here thinking he's magic with all the jump passes and also," and I'm like, "That's so cool." I was laughing about it because I mean, the Josh Green passing clinic that happened over the past few weeks was a lot of fun, and I was really curious. Okay, let me just ask you this. What did you think about the rotation, like, fallout from tonight? Because I think a lot of the dialogue over the past week or so has been, okay, like, we see these guys, Theo Pinson, Marquese Chriss, Josh Green get a lot of minutes. With all the guys out, now with Maxey, Tim, Luka coming back, we obviously know Porzingis didn't play tonight. Was Frank fully healthy for tonight's game?
I mean, he was available, but yeah, he was a DNP-CD officially. Although
Okay.
I think that it was probably like, let's play him if we have to, sort of thing.
Yeah. Because he
And
had
but
an
at the end
injury
of the game,
tag
Giddy was
last
kind of
game.
killing them. Maybe he should have played.
Oh man, Giddy. We'll talk about Giddy. I have something to ask you about Giddy because he was amazing. But just were you surprised by anything about the minute distribution tonight with the old guys back?
Um, I guess it's not really an old guy because Brunson didn't miss any time, but I was surprised that they went with Luka and Brunson together. I don't think that's going to be something. Although I don't think that's going to be something they do. But after the game, J Kidd did say, "I think that we're going to continue doing it." So we'll see how long it lasts. Obviously, those are easily their two best shot creators, but kind of tough to tell without KP tonight because ordinarily whenever everybody's healthy, KP's your starting 4. Cleve is basically your backup 4. Kind of they can play together a little bit, or they can play some backup 5 or whatever. But without Maxey tonight, it was a lot of like Josh Green, Sterling Brown, Tim off the bench all together, and then either one of Luka or Jalen. Usually, I think there was some time whenever both of them were off the floor, but it wasn't very often. And so,
Yeah, Josh
uh,
Green ran a little point guard there.
yeah, a little bit, yeah, and he did that the other night too. I thought he looked pretty good, but so it's kind of tough to say because I think if KP's in there, I don't think you're ever having Josh Green sort of like combo point forward 1-4 off the bench. I think
Yeah.
he's going to be much more just your kind of your traditional 3-and-D wing, or like Frank's gonna be playing backup guard with Maxey playing the 4. I don't really know, but they kind of have this good problem now where all of these guys are back and they're back to struggling to find ways to implement them all and give them all 20 minutes. Before it was like half the healthy team is hardship guys, and now it's like, well, I mean, Chris is the only one that's playing, and maybe he shouldn't be on a 10-day anymore. I guess we'll probably talk about that too, but like they have a lot of players, they have a lot of players that deserve minutes. So it's kind of, I guess that's one of like maybe the blessings in disguise of Luka being out for as long as he did and as long as he was, is that all these guys got a chance to sort of establish a little bit of rhythm and find their footing a bit.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be back to talk about Marquese Chriss, a fun addition to the center bullpen rotation. Guys, this podcast is brought to you by our good friends, our best friends, if you want to say that, Built Bar. It's a new year, so that means New Year's resolutions. If yours is about getting fit, eating healthier, make sure you include Built Bar in your plan. Built Bar is the protein bar that tastes like a candy bar, maybe even better than a candy bar. Built Bar makes it easier to stick to your resolution because it tastes so good you'll want to eat it. Unlike other protein bars, which can be chalky, waxy, even tastes like a chemical spill. You don't want a protein bar like that. You want Built Bar. It's covered in 100% real chocolate. Most Built Bars contain this. Check out this lineup right here. 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar, 4 net carbs, and 17 grams of protein. That's a lineup from a candy bar. It tastes like a candy bar, but it's really a Built Bar. It's a protein bar. Here's an idea for New Year. Go to all your secret treat stashes at home, in the pantry, at the office, in the car, in your backpack. I keep snacks in my backpack. I need to get rid of them, replace them with Built Bar, throw it out, get some Built Bars. And here you go. They have flavors like coconut, almond, peanut butter, brownie, raspberry, cookies and cream, salted caramel. The list goes on. Built Bar has you covered. Offer, go to built.com. Use promo code and get 15% off your order. Use promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at built.com. All right, Bobby. Marquese Chriss. What he finished tonight with 15 points. He was a plus 14 in this game. He had 7 boards, 3 of 3 from 3. Even asked post game about the previous, I don't even say beef, the previous moment he had with Luka back in the day, to where they chirped at each other when he was not a member of the Dallas Mavericks. He said, "Hey, we're just two competitors. Put it behind them." Some people, as soon as Dallas signed him to the first 10-day, that was immediately something that was brought up with Mavs fans. They're like, "Oh my gosh, remember this moment, him and Luka?" I loved how he answered that question post game about how they haven't even talked about it. It's past him. He loves playing with him. What have you seen from okay, let me word it this way. What does Marquese Chriss give this team that maybe they haven't had from the center rotation? Or maybe they have, he's just playing really well right now.
First off, no one should be surprised that somebody doesn't like playing against Luka, because not only is he really annoying, but also Luka talks more trash than like anybody else in the NBA, right? And so the fact that Chris at least went at him, it says something about him. But I think he's kind of the best of many worlds. He's more he's just as springy, if not more springy, than Dwight. He plays with sort of this defensive kind of tenacity that Willie does, and he has this motor that Moses does, but you combine it all together into this body that's basically kind of the size of Dwight or Maxi Kleba, a little more compact, and so I think it's just like he's just, I don't know, he's just good. He's productive. I think the one thing that he did tonight that was really impressive, or that stood out to me, I guess it shouldn't be impressive, but he didn't really foul at all. I'm not sure how many fouls he had, but in his first 10 days, so the first 5-6 games, whatever he played, he was averaging 9.5 fouls per 36 minutes. And that's 1 foul every 3 minutes. And again, in that Milwaukee game, he fouled out like in 12-15 minutes or something. Yeah. And if you're auditioning for a roster spot, and I make no mistake, I mean, if he keeps playing like this, like, he will be on an NBA team, probably the Mavs at some point, you would think, but he'll stick around in the league for sure. But if you're auditioning for that, you have to prove that you can be consistent and you can be productive and you can be reliable. We know he can be productive, and he's consistent with his energy and with his production, but can he stay out of foul trouble? And he did that tonight, and he hasn't really fouled the last couple of games he's played in too. So that's the most important thing for me. But yeah, I mean, as far as what he brings, like, how often have we said, I guess you and I host this podcast like once per year, so maybe you and I have never said it together, but we've probably thought it, certainly separately. If you could fuse Dwight Powell and Willie Cauley-Stein together, man,
Mm.
they'd kind of be a heck of a player. And Chris is a pretty close kind of facsimile for what that guy would look like. And so, I think that they value the effort and the energy that he brings them, and but also the production and kind of the quality on both ends of the floor.
Yeah, obviously the energy is something that stands out, but he's smaller. He plays bigger than what, I think his height, would tell you. I think he's what, 6'9",
Yep.
but he feels like he's like, 6'11". Willie, looks bigger out there, taller out there when he's out there, but there's two like under the radar type things about him that I really like is his second jump. I really like his second jump.
Ooh. Yeah.
And his, for a guy that is 6'9", I don't know his wingspan. I need to look this up, what his
It's got
wingspan
to
is,
be
but
plus wingspan, right?
I know it just feels like his catch radius is bigger than what it should be for a, 6'8", 6'9" guy. And, I don't know. I obviously I like him. I think a lot of Mavs fans are like what they see right now. Do you have his wingspan up?
7'1", Isaac.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
This makes sense now.
Yeah. So that's like plus 5. That's really good. But yeah, that second jump, that play he made with Tim tonight was really nice. It was like he was
Yeah.
going for the alley oop, and Tim kind of threw him almost the scoop pass. Chris went down and got it, and still went up before anybody else could. And he laid it in. I mean, that's really good. And Dwight used to have a really good second jump. Now it kind of he's fallen off a little bit because of the injury.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I think what was the first game we got, or first experience of Chris in it might have been his first game in Dallas was when he was defending Towns. And I thought that was I mean, what a bold decision by Jason Kidd in that game by leaving him out there. It's like first game Marquese Chriss in Dallas, like, hey, I'm gonna leave you in crunch time to guard Towns, and so he can play some defense. He obviously hit threes tonight. I don't have his career 3-point percentage in front of me, but I would go out on a limb and say it's not 40%. But I mean, if he can hit threes like that and pop like he did tonight, in addition to the rolling, I think a lot of us probably, I would safe to assume with you too, was wanting to see him play with Luka, and that didn't disappoint tonight. I thought that was really cool. Now, do I think Marquese Chriss is gonna be starting an All-Star game next year? I don't think that, but I think he's shown that he's worthy of a roster spot. And that, Mark Followill said it after the game, talking to him post game. I thought it was cool that Chris got the headset and was like, "Hey, I hope you're in the league." And I think it's one of the I tweeted about it during the game. This is one of the pluses that we've seen over the past few weeks with the hardship deals across the league is we've seen a handful of these guys earn that spot back that they're giving everything they have. And with Chris, hopefully it's in Dallas. But if it's not in Dallas, there's teams that are like, hey, they're watching this too. He's going to stick in the league for the rest of the year, you'd assume. And I just like stories like that.
Yeah, and as for getting a full contract, I mean, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. Like, it's crucial to see how a guy who you may or may not be, considering lobbing a contract offer to, how that guy fits with your best player. Because what if Chris just plays off KP really well, but he and Luka just don't? They're just like, two left feet out there or something, But it seems like they make to be a pretty good tandem. So, it's day 1 of 10. I guess it's day 11 of 20. But yeah, I mean, it's important too to keep in mind about 10-day guys. Like there's usually a reason that they're on a 10-day contract, right? With Chris, he's still only 24, so he's very young. It takes big men a long time sometimes to develop. You think of guys like Christian Wood, who's now, the other night notwithstanding, he's now one of the top big men in the league. He was playing on 10 days a few years ago. But, with you look at the last 5-6 years of guys that have played on 10-day deals, Yogi Ferrell might have had the best 10-day performance of any of those players. And I'm not talking about just the one game in Portland. I'm talking about that whole contract. I was just doing that before we recorded, like looking up. There's a few 10-day trackers online. I think the main one I was looking at was Sport Track, which just lists every 10-day contract given every season. And
Wow.
Yogi was like easily the best. Now, a lot of guys on 10-day deals don't sign for the rest of the season with their team because they're just not very good. But Chris is very, very good for a 10-day player, and he's having a very productive run. And so as for why they wouldn't have offered him a contract after the first 10-day, again, I think part of it is you want to play with Luka. Also, a part of it is to protect the team. Think back to the reason the Mavs signed Yogi Ferrell is because they had Pierre Jackson on a 10-day and he was balling out. They offered him a second 10-day, and like day 2 of that contract, he hurt himself and he missed the rest of the season, and he hasn't been in the NBA since. And then for the player also, If you sign another 10-day, you get an extra, 100 grand or whatever it is. And so it makes sense for him to sign it. And I'm sure if he plays well at the end of it, he'll probably get a contract from someone. Hopefully the Mavs.
Yeah. All right, we're going to take another quick break, and then I'm going to ask Bobby about Jalen Brunson. All right, before I ask you about Brunson, I lied. I just want to say real quick, because I know how much we both love this guy. Dorian Finney-Smith. Yes, he went 1 of 8 from 3 tonight, but this dude attacked the rim, and I think we could just do a whole Locked On Dorian pod together about how much we love Dorian. What have you seen from Dorian over these past few weeks that makes you smile?
I hope David Locke is listening, because if you want to expand the Locked On network, man, I'm down. I'll join. What he's shown the last few weeks, I mean, he's putting the ball on the floor and making it happen. He's not as good of a passer as Josh Green, but he's had some assist numbers, these last few games. He's willing to go to the basket. It felt like in the third quarter, like nobody could do anything. There was like a good 7-8 minutes where both teams just kind of forgot what it is that they do here, but Dorian went off. He scored 8 points in that run. Was going to the basket, laying it in, dunking, putting the ball on the floor. He can dump it off to the big man in the dunker spot, kick it out to guys shooting for 3. He's a very high IQ player.
Can you imagine that after his rookie season? His rookie season, I feel like he could barely dribble in the sense, and I feel like that area of his game he's improved so much in.
He still sometimes is a little shaky bringing the ball up the floor, but and sometimes he'll still mess up a fast break or whatever, and he has some off shooting nights, although he's been shooting it pretty consistently good lately. But I think with him, a lot of it is just he feels like a very sort of confident dependent player, right? If he's shooting well, if he's playing well, he's gonna be willing to put the ball on the floor and make some stuff happen. But if he has a couple bad shooting games in a row, you can kind of see tighten up a little bit, gets a little clammy. I think back to now, this was 18-19, so this was his third year, I guess. Got off to this great shooting start, was shooting in the high 30s, low 40s through January, and then they traded Dennis, and for the rest of the year he was below 20% from 3. He was really, really bad for the last 2.5 months of the season. You just
because the Smith way was broken up.
Exactly. And so, he had to find a new adopted brother, but I don't know who it was. I mean, he and Tim Hardaway Jr. call each other their twins, so maybe Tim is the source of all of Dorian's powers. But whenever he's feeling good, whenever he's shooting it well, whenever the ball's going through the net, really he does everything else very well. Feels like even his energy on defense is always high, but it feels like the last month or so he's gotten more blocks than he normally does. I don't know, he just looks very comfortable out there and very confident, and it's been cool to see.
It has been cool to see. We could continue talking about Dorian for the rest of the pod, but
we should.
I got to ask you a few more things.
Oh, okay.
Jalen Brunson, has he changed and his value across the league? Has he changed any national storyline about him over these past 3 weeks? Has he changed local media's mind about him? Has he changed your mind about him over these past 3 or 4 weeks? Be no, this is exactly who I thought he was. A good basketball player.
I mean, I think he's really good. I've always thought he was really good. I think for him, if the Mavs are able to make the play, which I think they will, but if the Mavs are able to get to the playoffs, especially a 7-game series, how is he going to handle that? The big question mark after last season, and even really through the first couple months of this year, was if you put length on him, it really keeps him from getting to his spots, right? You force him to shoot threes and long twos. He can always bully the small guys, but without Luka the last few weeks, he's been guarded by the other team's best defender. Against the Wolves, he was getting guarded by McDaniels, these really long guys, and he was still having big games.
Yeah.
And so, with or without Luka, especially without Luka as a starting point guard, as kind of the focal point, it's been really impressive to see him still dominate and, really able to get his shot off, get into the lane, make things happen. His assist numbers have been really high. And two, as he's played sometimes 36, 38 minutes plus, his efficiency in the fourth quarter is still just as good as it is in the beginning of games. It's not like he's wearing down, some bench guys would. I'm used to playing 20 minutes, not 30. I can't handle it. There are a lot of guys that do that, especially if they're running the offense and taking 20 shots a game. but
Yeah.
that doesn't bother him, so he's still got the Energizer Bunny stuff going on. So, I mean, I don't know if it's changed my opinion of him, but I guess he appears less limited than maybe I thought he might have been like a month and a half ago, even though I still thought he was really, really good, obviously. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm like the captain of the Jalen Brunson fan club. Him and Dorian Finney-Smith, I'll fight you over those two guys. The rest of them, you can have them. Those two guys are precious to me,
And
right?
Maxey,
And Maxey too. Maxey is like, my best friend, I think,
he's like
just
family
if
for
you
me.
ask me. But yeah, I mean, I think it's confirmed some things, but I also think it's like he's shown signs of growth, right? And now
Yeah.
the big question is, if he and Luka continue to start for any extended period of time or the rest of the season or whatever, can one of them, or ideally both of them, pick it up on defense? Because they will have to, between the two of them, one of them at least is going to have to guard a more skilled player than they otherwise would have, because
Yeah.
normally those are the two guys you hide on players, but you can't really do that if you're starting both of them. So that's going to be really, really, really kind of key for me over the next however many games or months.
Yeah, that's what we were, it feels like it's been a conversation in the past few weeks that I mentioned with Cato, I mentioned with Jake Kemp, Nick and I talked about of this I mean, we all know the situation with Brunson contract wise going into next summer. And if what other teams around the league view him as, if he's a starting point guard for a handful of teams and they're going to go after him, or if Dallas is like, man, is he a starter? Is he not? What is JB? We assume JB wants to be a starter too. So, and just I'm really curious on how the fit, because it's everything goes back to defense for me, and it's like, hey, offense wise next to Luka, I think it's fine. It's just when you have those two guys out there, you have KP down low. Now you're really trying to, you're putting a lot on Dorian and probably Reggie Bullock, or if Maxey's out there, whoever it is. But anyway, okay. I want to ask you this, or I just want to read this off to you, because just watching Josh Giddey tonight, he's such a fun player to watch. And I just want to give you the top 10 picks of this draft. And we sat together there at the was it in Jack Daniels?
Oh yeah,
There in American Airlines Center.
live on Twitch, Isaac. How about that?
It was live on Twitch, and we did a whole draft show there. And the top 10 picks of that draft: Cade Cunningham, Jalen Green, Evan Mobley, Scotty Barnes, Jalen Suggs, Josh Giddey, Kuminga, Franz Wagner, Davion Mitchell, and Zaire Williams.
Dude, what a draft.
What a top 10. Did we know in that
Wow.
moment that top, now obviously we're just in rookie season here, but did we really know? Are we going to look back 10 years from now and be like, do you remember we did a draft show on that legendary draft?
Dude, I mean, they've been great. I mean, this has been a really, really, really good and a fun rookie class too.
Yeah.
Like, Giddey is putting up numbers, and he's doing it in such a unique way, right? Like, he looks like a Magic the Gathering player. Like, it looks like he can special summon Dark Magician on turn 2, playing playing Yu-Gi-Oh. And I can say this is someone that played a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh, and I still play Pokemon to this day. Like, I feel like I can identify with an NBA rising star, and that's pretty cool for me. But then the rest of the draft, dude, Mobley is like,
Oh my
Mobley
gosh.
was awesome. We knew he was going to be awesome. Like, we knew Cade was going to be really good, and Jalen Green's been great. But Scotty Barnes has been fantastic. People thought that was a reach. Like, people thought Giddey was a reach, and those two guys can play.
Yeah.
So this has
And
been,
he even
it's been really fun to watch.
I know the Kuminga and everything going into the draft, but his fit in Golden State and how they're bringing him along in these spurts, they're throwing him out there, and you're like, oh dang, you could be a really good defensive player down the road. But we talk about fit all the time and where players get drafted, and it's wild to think about somebody like Kuminga, to where if Kuminga went to OKC and maybe he looks way different in OKC, and it's some things are getting exposed, and they're like, oh my gosh, I don't know if he could do this and that, but he's in Golden State and he's playing in the system. And what if it's the opposite for a guy like Franz Wagner or a Josh Giddey, that they were in Golden State and they're playing these spot minutes here and there. We're like, oh, okay, we'll just see so long story short, fit means so much in the draft. And I've just been looking at this top 10. It's a lot of fun. Last thing I want to ask you about, this is a big week for the Mavs, and Dirk Nowitzki Wednesday. As somebody who works for the Mavs, can you give us what can you share with us about what Tuesday and Wednesday, Tuesday press conference, but more focused on Wednesday? What could you tell us about what Wednesday night will look like?
I'm gonna be 100% honest. Even I
Ooh.
don't know. I
It's
knew all the details about 41-21-1 beforehand, but it was like got to keep it secret under like violators will be subject to ejection and arrest. It was like a blood oath to keep those
Mark's
details
like,
under
"Put the
wraps.
phones down or I'll fire you."
Yeah, no, it was legit. Like there was like 10 people that knew that Bird was going to be there. It was like a very small
Oh.
thing. Now this, I truly don't know. I mean, I know typically with jersey retirements, a lot of like former teammates will come, right? But like Kid will already be there because he's the coach. Nash, the Nets have a game. Jet coaches the Grand Rapids Gold. I don't know what their deal is. So like all of that, like Tyson will be, he works for the team. Like I imagine JJ and Devin will be there. Devin obviously is, working on the broadcast all the time too. So I imagine there's going to be a lot of familiar faces. Um, there's going to be I know there's gonna be like some type of fireworks, something, and some other sort of something. I don't know what, some other kind of entertainment that's not just the actual ceremony. Um, but yeah, I really don't know. I really have no idea. Because COVID means that there's way fewer meetings than ever
Yeah.
before, and it's all getting thrown together, kind of, not quickly. We've obviously been planning this for years now, but like, you know what I mean? It's come
Yeah.
together rather quickly. So I don't know too much, but I do know I'm very happy that it's happening after the game. And
Yes, me
not like at
too.
halftime, because we did a few years ago, we did Harps one, and that was at halftime. Now we extended halftime by like 15-20 minutes, but it was still like a 20-30 minute thing. With Dirk, like you want to give him like 5 hours, like
Yeah.
let's what's the world's longest standing ovation? Like let's set the record by at least 10 minutes. It's gonna be really cool. And I know it's gonna be broadcast in full on Valley Sports Southwest. If you live out of market, I'm not sure if ESPN is gonna carry it at all because they have a game right after that.
Mhm.
Maybe they'll carry it on ESPN2 or something. But if you live local, it'll all be on TV if you can't make it to the game.
Yeah, the press release for it, I thought it was 2 things. One, the collection that Mavs, shop has been tweeting out. I'm like, "Dang
Oh
it,
yeah. Oh, and
takes
there's
takes
gonna be
my
some
money."
artifacts too out there. The whole
That was
plaza,
the other thing, yeah.
it's probably not gonna be as like grand as the City Edition launch, which was were you there for that?
Yeah, yeah.
Dude, that was incredible. I'm not sure it's gonna be as massive, but that was like 5 things. Dirk is one guy, of course. Dirk is like the power of 41 mortals, but there's gonna be a lot of stuff out there too, and you don't even have to have a ticket in order to go to that. So if you still want to
That's
check out
cool.
some of the stuff throughout
So
his
that'd be,
career and
I guess,
buy some
Victory
merchandise
Park,
to show up.
maybe?
Yeah, Victory Plaza, yeah, like right
Victory
or
Park, yeah.
the whatever. I think it's still called Victory Plaza. I'm not
Okay.
sure. Should have checked the press release first.
The blue carpet and everything will probably be rolled out again, and
Oh yeah, if you're into Instagram, I'm sure there will be a place where you can take a good Instagram picture.
and then Bobby will be there signing autographs if y'all want pictures with Bobby. There'll be a
Yep.
Bobby booth.
The Dirk stuff is on the south side. I'll be on the north side of the building, so just go ahead and swing by my side first, and then do the Dirk stuff afterward if you want.
Okay, Mavs win against the Thunder. They play tonight against the Nuggets at home. Second night of a back-to-back. We'll see if Porzingis plays in that game. And then in 2 days, we get Dirk's retirement ceremony, a moment a lot of us have been waiting for a very long time. Be a special night. Bobby, thank you so much.
Thank you,
Talk,
Isaac.
and we'll see you today. If you guys are listening to this before 10 a.m. Central Time, then you need to join Bobby on Twitch at Studio 41. What's the official it's just Dallas Mavericks Twitch?
It's twitch.tv/Dallas Mavericks. The full
Okay.
one. We couldn't get Dallas Mavs. Someone else took that from us, and I don't know who they are. In fact, it might have even been me. But yeah, we're going with Dallas Mavericks. So
Tell that thing to
Twitch,
Mark.
yeah, twitch.tv/Dallas Mavericks. Join the movement now because in 10 years, whenever we're famous, you'll be able to say, I remember when. I remember when. But
Join the
Isaac, for real, I don't want to toot my horn too much or whatever, but I think we're the only team doing anything on Twitch. So like it is
That's
kind of
cool.
fun, sort of, being an innovator for once.
And seriously, I know he joked about getting in like right now. Subscribe now because we've talked briefly about some things you guys have planned in the future. And the direction this thing is going, I think is really, really cool. And I think Mavs fans will really, really like. So subscribe, don't miss it. You can watch it at work, wherever you want to, and it's a lot of fun. See you soon, Bobby.
You're Locked On Mavs a lot of fun too. Thanks for having me, Isaac.